Hey guys, JBotCubing here. Here's another video for you, and this is going to be all 21 PLL AUFs. Basically, what an AUF is after you finish a PLL, it's the move you do to finish the cube. So in my case, it was a U prime. It can be a U2, it can be a U, it can be a U prime. In some cases, it can be an R, but anyway. I'll be going over the PLLs that I use, and they're probably going to be the same ones you use because they're pretty popular, so I'll be just showing you the orientation or the location orientation, I guess, that the PLL would be if it would have no AUF at all. So, for example, the J perm, if you had it in this position, where this bar right here was the same color as the front face, there's no AUF. It's just, there's no U's or anything. So yeah, I'll just be showing you that. So, let's get ready. Get your paper out. These are all the two-look PLLs. So basically, these are the PLLs that have all the corners oriented or permuted properly. Sorry. So it's the two U perms and the Z perm and the H perm. Which the H perm, if you have the corners permuted, they are like, so the corners match the front face, then there's no AUF at the end. Same thing with the U perms. So see, the corners match the face, front face, there's no AUF at the end. Same thing with this U perm. However, with the Z perm, if the corners are matched the face, there's a U2 at the end. So knowing this, if the corners are opposite of the front face, and then you do the algorithm, there's no AUF at the end. So basically, we can put this into practice. So if we do the normal U perm, if it's a U to get the corners to, if it's a U to get the corners to be the same color as the front face, so like that, then we know that at the end we'll have to do a U. Makes sense, right? If it doesn't, I'm sorry, but that's basically how it's going to be. For the 4 G perms, so the ones that have headlights and a bar somewhere else on the cube, and there's 4 of them, and they look like this. If the bar is the same color as the face it's on, then there's no AUF. So here, the bar is the same color as the face, or the face that's on. So if we do the algorithm, there's no AUF. Same thing here. See, it's the same color as the face. So if we do the algorithm, there's no AUF. So if we do a U, or if it takes a U prime to get there, we know there's going to be a U prime at the end. Simple. And let me solve this real quick. So that's the 4 G perms. I grouped the J perms and the N perms together because they are very similar. But the AUFs are a little different. So, for starters, the 2 J perms, which basically look like this. There's a solid bar on one of the sides, and then there's 2 semi-bars, like that. And same thing here. Basically, for this one, the normal algorithm, if this color is the same as the face it's on, and then you do the algorithm, there's no AUF. For this one, it's basically the same thing, except with this bar. That one's a little harder to recognize as having an AUF, but I remember it with this bar not being on the front face, being on the right side of the face that's supposed to be on. So this is red, it's on this side of it. Then you do the algorithm, there's no AUF. It's kind of tricky, but it's not too bad. For the 2 N perms, it's basically the same as the J perm, except there's no solid bar. And this one is very tricky. You basically, to do the algorithm in that state, there's a U there's a U prime AUF at the end. So you can see here, for this case, where you start with the left side, if you have it so the other bars are permuted properly, and you do the algorithm, there's also U prime. So it's kind of tricky to remember, but basically I just put it into permuted state, and remember there's a U prime at the end. There are 2 R perms, but there's 3 PLL algorithms that I see used a lot. So we'll just get right into them. So the 2 separate R perms look like this. There's headlights, and connected to them is a bar, like that. And how I remember this is if the middle color on the headlights matches the front face, then there is not going to be an AUF at the end. Same thing here. Now the other algorithm that I see used for the R perms is for this case, where it's on the right, the bar's on the right. And how I remember this one is this corner is permuted correctly, and everything else looks jumbled up. There is no AUF in that condition, so yeah. There are 2 A perms, and they look like this. All the edges are solved, but these 3 corners are not. So there's a headlight, and there's a block like this, and the exact same thing on this one, except the headlight's over here, and the block's right here, and for this one, the headlights are on the back. So basically, if the block is solved, or all the edges, and you do the algorithm, there is not an AUF. Same thing for this case. There's no AUF. So yeah, pretty simple for the A perm. Very easy to recognize. I apologize, sometimes I get this one mixed up, but it's the E perm, I think. And it has these 2 need to be swapped, and these 2 need to be swapped. So all the edges are solved. And when all the edges are solved, there's no AUF. So yeah, very easy to remember the EPLL. So here's the D perm. I get this one messed up a lot, I'm sorry. I think it's the D perm, I honestly don't know. Basically, these 2 edges need to be swapped, and then these 2 corners need to be swapped. And how I do this algorithm is kind of weird, but basically, any version you have, and it has this block. If the block's solved, or in the right error place, and then you do the algorithm, there's not going to be an AUF. So yeah, that's how I remember that case. Alright, so I believe these are the final 2, but I apologize if they're not. It's the T perm and the Y perm. The T perm looks like this. It's like the heavenly PLL because it's super fast. Sometimes. It's really fast. Basically, these 2 edges need to be swapped, and then these 2 corners. Or you can see it as headlights, and then these 2 bars are solved. So basically, when it's in this place where the 2 blocks are solved, or the blocks or bars are solved, then it's in the state where if you do the algorithm, there's not going to be an AUF. Same thing for the Y perm. These 2 corners need to be swapped, and these 2 edges. Slightly different from the D perm, but anyway, if you do the algorithm, there's not going to be an AUF, and that's with these 2 blocks are solved. So it's a lot like the T perm. And I believe those are the final ones. And I apologize if they're not. I'm going to check myself, but I think they are. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.